us now. But hi, good evening. Today I am running a session of the Leverage RPG. Leverage is a Leverage RPG is a now sadly discontinued game, as it is out of print now, but it's based on the Cortex framework, which is in the process of being released as Cortex Prime. There's a big update on that recently, if like me, you were a Kickstarter backer. But yeah, you can find out more about Cortex Prime down below. It's based on the TV series of the same name. So if you are familiar with that similar sort of idea, we are playing a crew of criminals out to use their criminal skills to fight against injustice and general unpleasantness in the world. So that's the game we're playing. This game has been arranged through the Gauntlet, which is an online role-playing club that we have a calendar where we arrange games like this. We also have some podcasts, which are great. I would thoroughly recommend checking those out. And a monthly gaming zine called Codex, which again is well worth looking into. There's some really good stuff in that. So yeah, feel free to check out all of that stuff. You can find everything about the Gauntlet down at the website, again, linked down below, gauntlet-rpg.com. And yeah, with that, I will ask our players to introduce themselves and tell us just a little bit about their character before we get stuck in this evening. So as ever, I'll go through in character keeper order. Diana, would you like to go first?
Olas, I go by Diana Moon Online. I use she, her pronouns, and I am playing the hacker Adora Ochoa, who it used to be a former esports player, champion, is a little bit more like pop culture centered and likes to play up her race and the expectations of how she looks to con people, because like you never expect your maid to take all of your stock money, you know and yeah, she had a lot of fun in last sessions with the convention con, and but she had more fun making fun of other people's nerdery, because it was probably the first time she got a chance to hear about other people's nerdery.
Brilliant, thank you very much. And next, Jim, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your character.
Hey everybody, I am Jim Crocker. I play a whole lot of games on the Gauntlet, and recently I took over running the Gauntlet Community Open Gaming, and so we have got that's kind of our big annual Gauntlet Con version of Gauntlet Con Open Gaming is coming up in just a couple of months, just about exactly 2 months. So I made Pastor David to put a link to information about that in the show notes here, but that is the big thing that I am concerned with right now. If you're interested in what I'm doing, you can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Jim Likes Games, and I've got a website, jimlikesgames.com, where I do a little bit of blogging and hopefully some more podcasting in the near future, recapping games that I've played with a little podcast called Just Played. I use he, him pronouns, but if you're using they, them in more generic, that's totally fine with me too. That's not going to bother me either. And I am playing Leonid Hyaduk, who all his friends call Lenny Kevlar, because Lenny is a bodyguard. He used to be he was in the Secret Service for a while. He was the body man for some very important people. He had a career with the State Department protecting diplomats overseas and things like that. And then something happened, which we have not gotten into, and I'm not sure I even know what it is yet, in that kind of, classic Leverage style of there's something in his past that he does not do the job he used to do anymore, and now he is the muscle. He is the hitter for the crew. The great thing about being the hitter is I only have to really do any work if things go wrong, and things never go wrong with this crew because everybody's good enough at their jobs. That's not a thing I ever have to worry about. But I'm having a lot of fun driving and piloting and kind of being clearly being like the actor who does a lot of his own stunts, and I'm immensely enjoying it so far. So looking forward to a chance to have Lenny kick a few more asses as we proceed here.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And next, Lowell, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your character.
Hi, my name is Lowell. Pronouns he, him. I'm the Gauntlet community manager. And I am running Eun Jung, who is our mastermind. She is an escapee from a nasty Korean con artist network who made her way to the States, maybe absconded with some money. She is our by the book character who flashes back to show what has gone on that we prepped for, and she's very, very well dressed. So there we go.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Philip, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you're playing tonight.
Sure. I'm Philip Rogers. I go by Snarkade on Twitter, and I am playing Sasha. He's the thief of the crew, a former Eastern European want-to-be Olympic gymnast that hit a growth spurt and then became just one of the strength acrobats in the circus tradition of Eastern Europe. And that's pretty much it. His job is to go in and get the things that other people need got.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. We for a very brief last time we saw our crew, as was alluded to earlier, they were busting a crooked comics company CEO who had been absconding with some intellectual property rights, which they managed to see returned to their original creator in dramatic style at a comics convention. This time, I will introduce the job properly in a second, but this time we're going to again, taking a leaf from some suggestions at the end of last time, we're going to go for a bit more of a rural thing this time. We'll find our way to McClellan's Ford, a small town in New Hampshire, with a history of logging, we'll say. So the job, you will be approached by a young man by the name of I did mean to give him a name, but then completely forgot in the intervening time. By the name of Clive Edgars. He, as I say, he's probably in his like mid-20s, maybe. He's sort of wearing, sort of jeans and a flannel shirt. He's got sort of a his sort of John Deere tractor cap in his back pocket when he's come to meet you, and he will lay out the story of why he is here. But I think, going to sort of tie this into the crew, I think that maybe Lenny, you have some sort of tie to him, maybe not him directly, but to his family, certainly. They own a farm, as I say, in McClellan's Ford.
How old is he?
I said he's sort of about 20, 25, 26, something like that.
Sure. Okay. Then his uncle is a senator from New Hampshire, who I have actually like I've been a bodyguard for, like when he was a vice presidential candidate. like as soon as you become an official candidate for one of the parties, he was a vice presidential candidate, didn't get elected. He's still a senator, but I like got to know the family while I was, following him around like Iowa and stuff on the campaign trail.
Sure thing.
And like this kid, like he was probably like 15, like, and I think, I maybe know him as like a little bit of a like shit stirring redneck teenager. Cause like that, and maybe every now and then I had to kind of make sure he wasn't, like that he was ready for, family photo ops and stuff like that. So I think maybe we know each other in that way.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah. He sort of is there before and says, I'm sorry for disturbing you. But I know my Apollo has said that you were a good sort and you knew how to deal with problems back in the day. My pop, Richard. I don't know if you remember him.
Yeah, I remember Dick.
Yeah, he passed back last year.
Oh no! Oh, I'm really sorry, kid.
Yeah, it was,
I didn't know. I kind of been, I've been a little tougher to get a hold of since I left the service. So I'm sorry. I should have been there. I should have come to the funeral. I wish I'd known.
Fine. But I've taken over the family farm, and this year I've gone to the local bank to try and get our crop loan, and they're not taking it on. They say because of my age, the insurance or something, they can't provide that to me. And
oh, kid, if you need someone to co-sign a loan, credit's not that great right now.
It's not that. It's I think something's going on. It's been happening to a lot of folk recently. The local bank's been declining loans, and a few of the local farmers have had to close up, sell off their land, and the whole town's changed.
So is all this land being bought by the same person, same company?
It's all being picked up by John McClellan, the guy who runs the lumber mill.
Oh, that's your dad. Back when I knew him, all he would ever talk about was how he had the best maples in the state, and that everybody talks about Vermont maple syrup, but only because they hadn't tried New Hampshire maple syrup. And he wasn't wrong. I used to pancake Sundays on the bus were that was the high point of all those trips across the middle of the country. Let me tell you that. But no. You think there's something shady going on?
Yeah, I can't prove anything, but it's, like I said, it's been happening to so many people around town. That's and I went to my uncle. I thought maybe he, he's a senator. You'd have thought that he'd be able to at least have a word with the guys at the bank or whatever. But he said there was nothing he could do, and he's been dodging my calls ever since.
Well, all right. So I got a friend who's good with numbers. I'm going to have them take a look at it. And if I see anything that looks like it's worth checking out, maybe we'll come up.
Sure thing. Thanks. Thanks, Mr. Haydock. It's the best I can ask for. Thanks.
You know it's Lenny, right?
Sure thing, Lenny.
Yeah, I should probably stop calling you kid. All right, I'm gonna look into it. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you either way.
Sure thing. Thank you. Thank you, Lenny.
So do we don't all like hang out in a big house together or anything like that, right? I mean, do we have a place do we have like a clubhouse or anything like that? Or what do we do when we want to get in touch or, sit down together to have a confab?
I like the idea that we have like a front agency that has offices that most of us don't go into, but when we need to do something, we can go in and use it, with phone lines. There's a person who's hired as secretary who, most of the time is just sitting there in an empty office telling people we're not there. But then we show up.
Make it a travel agency. Nobody ever goes into a travel agency.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's great. Oh, and if it's travel agency, but like A, nobody ever goes in there, but B, like, if we're buying a lot of airline tickets and renting a lot of cars and all that kind of stuff, that all is perfectly under a lot of different names. We're just booking trips for people. So I love that.
Going to weird places. Well, we're checking out what the next markets are going to be.
Yeah.
There's a couple of travel
Moldova.
There's a couple of travel posters that are definitely from video games.
Yes.
So it's like,
Fantastic. That's excellent. Yeah. I love that. Visit sunny Pandora.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, a 70-year-old woman walks in, looks around, walks back out.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So, I think I'm gonna. I will ring up Adora, or whatever. I mean, Adora. When one wants to get in touch with you, what is the? Do we have a burner phone number for you, or do you prefer that we text you, or what?
She's into gadgets a lot, so she's also a little bit into old school gadgets. So she technically has a pager, but it's like one of those like cyberpunky looking like pager things that does so much more than just like shows numbers and everything. So like that's like the easiest way to contact her. The only time she never responds quickly is if she's in a gaming tournament.
Got it. So and I think that I think we've kind of established that Lenny is a video gamer too. Like he's like a big he likes like fighting games and stuff like this. So I think Lenny knows enough about he knows to go on and check Xbox Live and PlayStation Network and Twitch and doesn't see your name up on any of those. And so then, rings up your pager.
That sounds great.
And I know that what I do is I call your pager, I hang up, whatever. I make sure I get the beep that says it's, whatever, it's paged you. And then I just, wait for you to call me back.
Yeah, I think it's 5-10 minutes max, and when she calls, she starts with just to mess with you, instead of saying before you even say hello or whatever, she's like, she immediately says something like weird, like, this is, like, let me look at your, where's my tab? There we go. She goes, so this is the Copic Kid fan club. Do we have any updates? Like, and say shit like that randomly.
Sure. And I say, what do I say? I say yes. The Kopek Kid had a breakfast burrito this morning, so make sure that you send that out in the next newsletter.
I hope it was super spicy.
It was not. I do not like spicy food, and you know that. It did not have. It had the mildest salsa that I can find in the store.
But it'll be funny to have your fan club, like, burn their tongues.
That actually, I don't know why you think that would be funny. But look, Adora. So, there's something that I was hoping you could look into for me that may lead to another job for us, or it may not. But it's to help out a friend of mine.
Yeah, sure. I mean, my main game, they're doing server updates, so they're going to be gone for a bit.
Well, good. I mean, this should be pretty easy. It's a cooperative bank in rural New Hampshire. So, not exactly like Fort Knox. Although I don't know. Does Fort Knox have computers?
They want you to think they don't have computers, but they do.
Okay. Anyways, so I give her the name of the guy that's buying the up all the property.
Sorry, say that one more time.
Is it on the NPC tab or?
No, I don't think I've put him in on there actually. It's John McClellan.
Okay, so friend of mine having trouble with this farm, and it sounds like some of the other farms around him that there may be somebody leaning on the bank to not give the farmers credit. And he's been buying up the properties. His name's John McClellan, owns some kind of lumber concern. It's the North County, New Hampshire Cooperative Bank. So, did you just see if there's anything that looks, I don't know, shifty?
Yeah, sure, that should be, I mean, this is like in some podunk town, right? Their security is not going to be that hard at all. I'm sure it's just some rich oil baron wannabe thinking they found the last bit of oil somewhere.
Well, no, it's lumber. These are prize sugar maples, which are worth a lot if you know how to. Well, look, whatever. It's not oil. It's lumber. Okay, just
okay.
Trust me on that.
I didn't think lumber had money, since it's free everywhere. Like, there's like clear confusion in her voice.
Have you ever had an actual maple table?
Why? Everything is an IKEA.
Okay, so that's no. Just tell me if you find anything shifty.
Yeah, I'll get right. And would this be a roll to like find out like immediately?
I think I'll just give you some of the basic information on him for now. We'll save it for rolling for once we get into the stuff proper. So yeah, what you can find out about John McClellan, owns a lumber mill in town and owns a lot of logging land in the surrounding area. The family, the town is named for the family. They have been here since it was founded. I mean, very rich in terms of an old a kind of an old industrial family. Not Silicon Valley billionaires, but the family has had a lot of money over the years. John McClellan is the current owner of the company. He is he's in his 40s. early 40s, after inheriting the business from his father. The what you will get on the, like I say, on a cursor inspection, the actual like logging industry in the area is not what it used to be. It's still making money, but it's not kind of the economic powerhouse it once was. What you do find out though is through a separate company, but still registered to John McClellan. He is one of the state's leading providers of carbon offsetting. So he is planting up lots of forestry land for carbon offsetting rather than actual logging purposes.
Okay, so like while still on the phone, I pretty much relay that, and it's definitely, Adora does not quite understand what she's saying. She's just like spouting like does this mean anything to you?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, this is environmental regulation stuff. If you know what you're doing, you can make a lot of money by just planting. It's a way to offset pollution. If you plant trees, you can. So you know what? It doesn't make any sense unless it doesn't make any sense unless you're a politician. So I'm not going to bother explaining it, but yeah, that's shifty.
All right, should we call the big boss in then?
Yeah, I think so. This one's, and this one's on me. This is helping a friend. So, if you can kind of help me sell it to her, I'll owe you one.
Deal. Like immediately, getting getting Lenny to owe her would be fantastic. And then she says, "Send over your clothing's measurements." And
okay. Okay. Is this a fan club thing?
Maybe. And then she mutters something about like The Witcher, and it's like, this is gonna be like great, like side money.
Yeah, and so so I'll just whatever X shirt, this size collar, all that kind of stuff. I just I buy enough suits and stuff that I have that ready to go. Just send that along.
Yeah, and I think is Eun Jung, like, are they easily accessible, or also like kind of like we have to go through?
Oh no, I have a cell phone. You can call me on a cell phone. I don't have a pager or a beeper, and you can certainly call me direct if you need those things.
Yeah, I've got one as well. We're on a family.
Yeah, I think like for fun, what she does is like she hacks your phones to like play almost like the emergency ring that happens sometimes, except it's
like the flood alert that happens on the phone.
Yeah, it's like it's the Star Trek klaxon noise that happens instead.
I'm in the middle of an art show, like art auction thing, dressed finely, doing my things, kind of checking out the stuff when the Star Trek alert goes off, and I'll desperately fumble for that, get that turned off, and nod to everyone as I make my way out into the hall. Yes.
Did you know Lenny actually has a life?
That had been my assumption.
I didn't think he did.
Well, the details of it are still, I think that's still open to question. But I'd assumed there was something there.
I mean, I've seen his cable bills. I know that kind of life, but like with actual people.
Was there something you needed?
Yeah, he has a life, and apparently he needs our help with one of those life things. He actually has a friend, a casual.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like she's like as she's saying this, like she sends over to your phone like the bit of like documents and everything, like
Mm-hmm.
highlight it. Like I think she's learned how to like highlight what you would be interested in.
Mm-hmm. Will you do me a favor? I'm going to head into the office. I'm going to call Alex. And would you see if you can get like digital satellite images of all of that area around there, and then get the records for the carbon offset. See if those things match up or not.
All right, you got it, boss.
Okay. And I will give Alexander a call. I because I'm curious where you take the phone call.
I take a phone call. You hear large, sort of gunshots and explosions in the background, and somebody just yells, "Cut! Cut! No phones on set." Yes. What? Hold on a sec. Boss, what's up?
Sorry, I didn't realize you were in the middle of something.
Yeah, somebody asked me to help him out, so I'm helping him out with a little something.
We have a request from Lenny about a situation. So if you can get away from what you're doing, we can meet up at the office.
Lenny needs help?
That's my understanding.
I quit! All right, let's go. When do you need me?
Now.
All right, I'm there. I'll meet you at the office.
Okay.
And when I show up at the office, you just see a bunch of mocap dots all over my face.
Lenny, what is this I hear about you having a life?
That is a rumor started by my fan club, I say, glaring at Adora.
You have a fan club?
Country tortilla and ketchup, the fanzine.
Sasha, do you have a fan club?
No, nobody knows who I am.
All right, I just wanted to make sure.
He won't let me set it up, but there is a cryptid page about what Sasha's done in the past.
I've had a couple of jobs here and there.
Did you say?
I took the distinction. I've had a lot of jobs.
Did you say a cryptid page?
Yes.
Like a fake animal.
Yes. You've seen what Sasha can do. That's almost inhuman. People talk.
Fair enough.
You go to one squatching convention, and then suddenly you get this sort of reputation.
Exactly.
I'm not certain I want to know what that means. So, Lenny, I understand that there is a job. Is this a high-paying job or moderate-paying job or a no-paying job?
So it's a job where we're going to eat like kings.
So a no-paying job is what you're telling me, though.
See, now, I don't consider the best breakfast you've ever had to not be payment. Yeah, it's a favor. I'm asking for a favor. I don't think they've got much.
Fair enough. I think we can. Why don't you give us give us the basics, and we can look in our different directions and see what we can pull together?
Well, you see, it's like this. Blah, blah, blah.
All right. Let's see what we can find out about this McClellan.
And you know what I think? You know what I think I do want to kind of underline a little bit is that, like, Lenny is clearly upset that he missed that funeral.
Lenny, why don't you pull together what you know about the locale, the hot spots for eating, the sheriff's office, all of that kind of stuff. Sasha, can you find out if there's any kind of this is no disrespect meant to you, if there's any kind of crime family in the area?
Absolutely.
And Diana, you'll check on the. Sorry, not Diana. That's I was out of the little. Adora, you'll check on the carbon offset and such.
Yeah, it seems like they don't tend to update that as often, so can't guarantee how up to date these last studies are.
Oh, and hey, Adora, if we're going to be walking around in upstate rural New Hampshire, I'm going to need your sizes.
Why?
Do you know what Carhartts are?
Is it a heart you paint on your car?
And I just kind of lean back and grin, and I say, we're going to have to blend in.
I don't think I like this job.
I'm with you on this.
And I think Adora is going to try to requisition one of the satellites to ensure like internet connection. Also, out of character, what is that term? I've never heard of it.
I think like it's like a North Face jacket, but more blue collar.
Carhartt is the kind of like the go to work clothes. Like if you've ever seen somebody on a job wearing a sturdy tan canvas pair of overalls, or one of those jackets, tan canvas jackets. They make steel-toed work boots.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. Farm clothes.
Good workwear.
Yeah, it's like stuff that farmers and construction workers wear and stuff like that. So, but it's actually, where LL Bean or North Face is stuff rich people buy. This is stuff actual, if you're someone who works and you want a pair of no shit work boots that will last you 10 years, you splurge and you buy a pair of Carhartts.
The shirts will soften, but the first 150 washes, they are stiff and scratchy.
Yeah. So and so I think I think we know where this is going, which is the scene where we're all going to get to describe our New Hampshire country outfits that I have picked out for everybody. So.
Excellent. So yeah, I will give you a little bit more information for you to help plan the job that we will between your various inquiries you will find out. As I say, the town itself, McClellan's Ford, it was one of these founded hundreds of years ago, but sort of got big during the early industrial revolution, when the logging there went from a kind of important part of the local economy to growing the town to actual town status. Half of the sort of public buildings in town are named after a McClellan. I said obviously the logging industry has tailed off in over the last few decades, but it still seems to do okay, though it has been seeing a bit of a downturn recently. Yet there do seem to be an unusual number of foreclosures in the area, particularly on farming land, though not exclusively. In terms of the specifics on the carbon offset side of things, there is a lot of land that has been kind of recently reclassified as being land for carbon offset, which happens to come with some tax benefits and so on and so forth. Obviously the McClellan, John McClellan's overseeing all of this. What you will notice is that that there was a slight problem about 6 months back when a particular tree blight infected a large section of the land that had been planted for carbon offset, so obviously all had to be felled for disease containment purposes. That's kind of the overall stuff you get. On John McClellan himself, he obviously born into the family, sort of brought up to run it from childhood, essentially. You find his Facebook page finds picture of him. He is definitely in the more north face end of things, but he still does. He kind of does wear the kind of flannel shirts and jeans and boots, and he has kind of not a huge beard, but he has kind of a beard. And lots of his pictures, he's kind of got an axe over his shoulder, or is out hunting or whatever else. Definitely kind of seems to play himself up as sort of the outdoorsman type. You also what you will pick up, Adora, from kind of scanning some of his web searches and all this sort of thing. He definitely seems to be angling towards running for some sort of office. Nothing specific, but you definitely get that impression that he's doing that. And you will also find out that he is he has contributed to campaign funds for a lot of officials, both kind of local and at higher levels as well. But yeah, that is kind of the at a glance glimpse you get. If there's anything specific you want to follow up on, feel free to ask.
Were we able in our research to find out if he is connected, and if he is connected to who or what organization or individual?
So in terms of the criminal side of things, doesn't seem to have any particular. There doesn't seem to be much in the way of certainly not much in the way of organized crime in the area. And relatively low crime rates, all told. Certainly, once you get out of there's probably some drug-related crime, some stuff like that. But broadly speaking, it's not a high crime area by any stretch. In terms of his
in New Hampshire, though,
methamphetamine is what there would be if there was any.
Exactly. Yep. There's definitely some meth rings in the area, though nothing that you can directly link to him certainly at this stage. The word I was thinking of, it's just gone off my head. In terms of general connections, as I say, he seems to be very, very well connected certainly at the state level politically and county and so forth. But he seems to know. You get a lot of pictures of him at fundraising events and charity events. He is very much a known figure in sort of the local area.
I mean, that begs the question about his connection to the uncle, if any.
Yes, indeed. And he has definitely, certainly on the level of stuff that you can easily find out, he has definitely contributed to his campaign in the past.
Yeah, I can't do anything. Okay.
And
How much of a social media presence does this particular senator have, or like, is it just very basic, like Facebook about page and that's it?
Yeah, so I think the senator it's probably a very rudimentary, um, has an intern whose job is technically social media, but they don't really do much. Very much on the sort of like it's very much using social media as press releases rather than actually
No
engaging
interactions.
with
It's just
yeah.
very
I mean,
like
probably some, but yeah, very much of that. Like he that he will post pictures of him at like coming out of X event, and might he, or certainly his team might respond to people coming to it, but he's not one of these kind of like on a finger on the pulse of social media, put it that way.
Let me jump in. So I thought the senator passed away, and this was a guy that.
No, sorry. The senator's the uncle. It was his father who passed. So the senator's brother who passed away. Yeah. So
got it. Okay.
let me ask.
sorry, I'll be right back. I gotta answer the door.
Sure.
No worries.
There's been mention of denial of loans and so on for the people who need it for refi and whatever. Is that like one local bank, or is it multiple places? Where is the pressure being put, or I mean, can we kind of get a sense of that?
Yeah, so it definitely seems to be focused on the local bank that seems to be turning down these loans. It's where the majority of the people who are applying for them have been applying for year on year sort of thing. That seems to have been turning down an unusual number of loans. There doesn't seem to be a direct link between McClellan and the local bank, though he is. So he's clearly, he will be a kind of he definitely has a stake in the local bank, right. but yeah.
And I assume that any kind of federal assistance is getting kind of kiboshed, or is okay.
Yeah. So the way that the loans are sort of being it's kind of that where a lot of these farms have been reliant on the fact that they've been sort of banking with the same bank for the lifetime of the current owner of it, essentially, where some places have managed to secure loans elsewhere, but often at much worse much worse rates. There definitely seems to be an element of like blacklisting, essentially, to them being turned down for the loans at this local bank.
And I think I will, like, if we have a chance, like sitting around meeting table kind of talking, we'll say, so here's the thing that seems weird to me. I can understand, let's say that it is McClellan putting pressure on the local banks, and he's buying up these other areas to turn over into these carbon credits, or even to turn over. It feels like we're missing something. Like that feels like a pretty penny ante robber baron kind of thing. I mean, I'm just wondering if there's something else going on here that we're not seeing.
No, I think the only way to find out is to go up there and eat some pancakes. Well, I say, like, with a completely straight face.
I heard pancakes. I'm down.
Okay. Can you get your equipment together to go pretty quickly, everybody?
Yeah.
Then let's take an unmarked van and a standard car.
Oh, no.
What?
I've got a vehicle for us.
Okay.
And I kind of, I lead us out front and parked in front of the is a like mega, like a long bed mega pickup with like a massive V8 engine and a winch on the front, and it's got like a double cab. It's like an actual like a pickup truck with a sleeper cab.
I'm gonna need so many belts.
And
So many belts.
And it's got it's got New Hampshire plates on it already. And like a bumper sticker that says, my other car is a tractor on it. And I kind of walk up and I just kind of pat the hood a couple of times.
The other bumper sticker says, Vermont is the little spoon.
Fantastic. That's great.
Okay.
And I kind of tap the hood a couple of times and I say, we can run over trees with this.
Yeah. Well, maybe when we get up there, if I need to get around, I can get an Uber. Or right? They have Uber there.
Sure.
You say that in a way that makes me suspect that, in fact, you do not mean sure when you say it.
Oh, so like you don't mean like a horse named Uber?
No, they probably have one guy that drives for all of the services. You'll be able to get a taxi.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is, I will not pass as a local particularly easily. So I will tell you what, I am going to rent a car and follow behind. And we can cross paths and make arrangements that way. How does that sound?
That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, you can be a tourist.
Absolutely.
Are there a lot of people that look like me there?
No, there's not, which is why I say, and I pop the door of the truck and I've got, I don't have boxes or dry cleaning things on hangers, right? I've got a couple of bags from Cabela's and I pull them out and I just hold them both out to you. And I say, these will help you blend in.
And she groans and is like, I would rather wear a Chun-Li volleyball episode outfit than this. Does this even breathe?
When we get up there, it's and I say it's September. It's late September. You're not going to want something that breathes when we get up there.
And she just gives you the most confused look, and horrified look.
You'll be fine.
Actually, can we make it fall? Can we make it autumn? Because that's the best time to be in New England. It's mid-October it's mid-October when we get up there. You're not going to want something that breathes, I say.
I can deal with wind.
Yeah. So,
you're talking to a complete city girl.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm like, look. And I, and I kind of lean in and, I say, when we went to that boat show, I wore that captain's uniform just like you asked me to.
Fine. You owe me 2 costumes now. And Adora goes back in to go and then shouts for Sasha to come and help because we need to use the big equipment to make sure the antennas hit and everything for all her hacking needs.
We're not going to the moon.
We might as well be.
It'll be
I'd have more coverage there.
It'll be fine.
And she's just swearing in Spanish.
It's just a couple hours outside of Boston. How bad could it be?
TV wipe. It's bad.
Oh, I want that to be how bad could it be? And then we see how you're dressed.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a little even though she is tall, but I think it's a little bit it feels she feels tiny in it because it feels just over big and everything, and it's just and it's just staring daggers at you.
And I look at you and I grin and I say, practical. Like it's a huge compliment, right? Like that is the nicest thing I can say to somebody.
Yeah, but at the moment, she's like, ugh, practical. Like,
And
I think
I go, smile.
Awesome. Okay, I think we'll take a quick break there and come back in about 5 minutes. So yeah, I'll see you all then, and we'll get on with the job.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's a as you arrive back in town, into the town. It's it's a sort of small-ish town in general. It has it's not like devoid of life. It is a proper town, but it's not a sprawling metropolis by any stretch. It has sort of a high street and shops and diner and all this sort of thing, but
and it's probably got a river of some kind.
Absolutely, yeah. It's got a big river flowing through the town. There's a big sort of old sort of Victorian era iron bridge over it.
Adora plays the X-Files theme song on the radio as we're driving through.
Lenny's like, cut it out, and he switches back to the country music that he has been listening to for the drive.
I think Adora like just like mutters into the comm so that Eun can hear. It's like, they really don't know good music, do they?
I don't know, because I can't hear it because I'm in my own car.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Well, no, that's what she says to you over the thing, and
yeah,
it's mostly K-pop for me. Why? What's the name of the song that you're listening to right now?
it has something to do about breaking hearts, like all of them.
Are they achy?
I think so.
It's not that.
Sorry, we're losing you there. I think
distant. Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Well, Adora just shakes her head like, I'm in a losing battle.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying it's not achy breaky heart bad. I assume I'm in the back seat just laughing. I'm letting the two of them fight over the radio.
Yeah. I think like the only reason Adora starts fighting is because like finally got into out of range to like do anything on her phone. So it's now just annoying Lenny because there's nothing else to do.
Oh, this is the only fight with Lenny she could possibly win.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. So we will we'll cut to sort of the point where. So I guess actually my question is, is there more information you would like to find out before you kind of plan out an approach to this, or do you have some ideas in mind?
One of them being, is he up and up about the carbon thing, or is he applying for the carbon thing and doing something else with the properties? I mean, that's the one thing I want to see if we can spot any hinkiness on that end of things.
No, that it definitely seems hinky. He has, like I said, he's had a section of it condemned, and essentially, his other company then came in to log the trees and process them. Some insurance guys. The other thing actually, you don't necessarily get all the details on this at the moment. That will probably require a bit more investigation. Mm-hmm. But the thing that will definitely have kind of piqued your interest, certainly, I think, is there is a lot of money moving around very little seems to actually be staying in one place for very long.
Interesting.
I'd also be curious if there's like Greenpeace or like any of the environmental activists like either being active to either paid to be like, oh, look what this like company is now doing to, or maybe there's like suppression going on.
Yeah, so there is definitely some. There doesn't seem to be any big campaign centering on this. There is probably like the local sort of like Greenpeace or analogous organization is has probably had a long running campaign against the lumber mill. The practices there have never been great over its history. There is definitely skepticism from their perspective as well about about McClellan trying to sort of rebrand this sort of like environmental protector.
In the U.S. with like land use stuff like this, it would be the Sierra Club would be the environmental organization that would be like trying to keep people from cutting trees down and stuff like that.
And then like, is this a town that is trying to modernize to survive, or are they like really stuck in like, no, modernization is what killed everything?
It's I think I'd say it's probably the fairest description is saying it's probably struggling to adapt. I think is the best way to put it. It's not that there doesn't seem to be on the sort of the ground level side of things. There doesn't seem to be any inherent resistance. It's more just there's not much for them to change here. Essentially, the change that's mostly being represented is people sort of moving out of the area to look for work elsewhere, and that
so
sort of thing.
Like government or political local support money wise to help, even if they wanted to, they don't have.
No, so here's the thing, Diana, do you mind if I just give like a little quick rundown of like New Hampshire and the ways New Hampshire is peculiar?
I'm a San Francisco, California girl.
There we go. Cool. So like New Hampshire is where conservatives live in New England, right? So there's no state sales tax. The liquor stores are all owned by the state. They have live free or die on their license plates. That is what is on New Hampshire license plates.
In a single store, you can buy gas, liquor, a firearm with a silencer.
Yeah.
In one store.
Yeah, it's like libertarian, it's kind of this weird little slice of libertarian, I can't say paradise. Well, maybe it is for libertarians. Yeah. But like if you live in Vermont, anywhere near the kind of, eastern border of Vermont, you do all your shopping in New Hampshire because all of the chain stores are all set up right along the border. You drive over the river, you buy your stuff for no sales tax, and you go back to Vermont and stuff like this. But it is very, and especially you start getting up north and stuff like that. I mean, it's very rednecky. It's like, it's this kind of weird, like the South, but in New England kind of thing going on.
And if
is it also one of those states that like you could only buy alcohol at an alcohol store and not on Sundays kind of places? Because I know there's a couple of places that.
Not that. Really, it's weird.
Well, you can buy like beer and wine, but like hard liquor, all of the liquor stores are owned by the state, so they are run by the state. There are no private liquor. Like you can buy beer and wine wherever, and there's like a bunch of craft breweries, all this kind of crap. But like if you want vodka, you have to go to a state package store to buy it.
I'm so lucky I live in California. I just go to the corner store, get some vodka.
Yeah, it's
a weird thing. It really
thing.
Won't change because all the presidential candidates have to kowtow to New Hampshire because it's one of the first states for election purposes.
Yeah.
So everybody in New Hampshire has met every major political candidate for the last 20 years. They
And
probably
they,
live
like,
in their house.
yeah, and they're super snooty and like take a lot of pride in that. So it's a weird place. And like
Adora's definitely not happy.
and like I said, there's like property taxes are like basically the entire state runs exclusively on property taxes. So like the roads are terrible, the schools are terrible, but the taxes are super low. So, you know, if that's what you're into, that's what's going on there.
I mean,
So,
that's good
yeah.
for like those prepper people, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on there. Yeah.
That's why I typed in the chat, New Hampshire, New England's Alabama.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but like Lenny has Lenny has the local country radio station on, which seems like it would be a weird thing to go in New Hampshire, but trust me when I say that you can find, country radio stations just like you were, riding around in the South. And he just seems like he is, like he's got whatever, it's probably like 50 degrees out, but he's got the window down, arm hooked, kind of in the window of the pickup truck, roaring up the interstate at like 90 because the speed limit's like 75 or something like that. And just seems like he is like just kind of relaxing visibly as we head north, kind of away from the city and stuff.
So yeah, I think like Adora's trying not to like show that she's cold, and like maybe the clothing is helping, and just like and then this goes, boss, so what are we gonna do, honestly, like.
So I think Lenny and Alex need to take lead on doing recon, with you backing them up, seeing what you can crack about the local bank financials. And I will play dumb tourist who's made a terrible choice about where to take their walking vacation. And maybe see if I can pick up word on the street. What do you think?
I mean, it's
play the role of our job. You can be a potential tourism person trying to bring people in from another area.
And it's New Hampshire in October. It's actually it's actually a really good tourist destination. They're just starting the sugaring. Apple season is over, but that means there's going to be a lot of, pies and cider and stuff like this. It's, I mean, look at this. I say, and I kind of, like indicate the foliage that we're driving by, and all in hues of red and gold and everything. And I say, it doesn't get prettier than this.
Here's the other thing. Right now, if you're in New Hampshire in September or October and you wanted to get a room in a bed and breakfast, it will run you $1,200 a night.
We're getting it for free.
Yeah, but I'm just saying this is where people from New York go to for a weekend and then go home and they spend ridiculous amounts of money.
Yeah. Also Boston.
Yep, Boston. Yep.
So yeah, no, this is actually a great tourist destination. So
and I was going to say that is probably
outside of leaf peeping season, it's not. It's not a whole lot, but
you peep leaves.
Look at leaves. When the leaves change color, it's called leaf peeping.
You're in the same car like with the other two. Like it's only
I feel like this is I feel like this is like you and I talking, and he's in the back, kind of like maybe like leaning like this, going, like that. Is that
So like Adora just turns and just like,
we're totally ganging up on you.
This is why people do crime. That's why you two started, right? Because if your entertainment was watching leaves.
No. I mean, the leaves are pretty, but the fact that the leaves are changing means there's so much, like, there's a lot of stuff to do. I'm gonna show you I'm going to show you how they make maple syrup because that is amazing.
I like maple syrup. like this, like not being able to really like. We're in a foreign world.
Okay, so Adora, here's what I want to know, and you know, I've now got that thing where like I've just got my wrist hooked over the top of the steering wheel, you know, like that, you know, and okay, so every time we do something, you wear some kind of costume, right? I mean, like you seem to really like costumes. You're always trying to get me into some kind of costume. How come you can't just treat that like a costume? I mean, isn't that really just another costume?
And she looks down and is like, but there's nothing flashy about this. There's nothing high tech about this.
So
I can't even blend in because I'm brown, and that's gonna, and it's kind of just like almost acting kind of like a grifter. Like, what's my role? like.
So as a player, so now this is me as a player. When we ask about somebody's this is what I'm trying to do is to like evoke asking somebody about a distinction. And so this is something we talked about last week. I'm not entirely sure how I'm supposed to go about this.
Right.
But
so
but what's the deal with all the costumes?
Yeah, he's trying to pull that out of you.
Seems okay.
So
is that how this works?
Yeah, no. So yeah, exactly. You can kind of call it out that you want to know this thing. So what you can do, Dan, is just give us a quick flashback. This can, you know, as I was going about, this can either be like a flashback to like childhood, or it can be to something like earlier in the day, as it were. Though for this one, it's probably going to be a bit further back than that. And you just describe kind of a little. You don't have to actually like answer the question, as it were, but you have to give like show us a scene that sort of implies an answer, and then the other three players will confer together and come up with a distinction for you based on what you give them in that flashback, essentially.
Okay, I didn't know about that part. So I think she kind of just rants like as if she was like a grifter. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And the flashback is to when she's a teenager, and I'm trying to think like what would be the perfect. Because the character in Alien was actually a white person who used brown face, which is unfortunate. But that's like one of the first like Latino Tinas that you see, characters you see in like sci-fi movies and such. And Starship Troopers, they just used a white face for the Latinos characters. So it was like. Aranya, I forgot so there's the Spanish Spider Woman who's named Aranya, and she was just working like as a teenager. She was just like working at a convention actually, and it was the first time like it was like like doing like one of those unmasked costumes where like you see the face and everything, and it's Aranya, and it's someone who looks almost like her, and she's like, wait, what? We can be superheroes? Like, no, that's so cool. And then noticing that Aranya got to go behind the scenes and do like a bunch of different, like, I can blend in better. And was just like walking around, and with an old Nokia type phone, was able to like still kind of hack into one of the booths to get like oh no, they pre-ordered this kind of thing, and it's like this slipped in, like got a free costume, and realized that they could just completely like no one will notice them, and she could still be very cool, and and actually like, oh, what's the word? Like it's like a weird dichotomy of being able to blend in so that no one notices her, but at the same time you're still playing a character where everybody wants to interact with you. It's like, yeah, can I have a like, you know, a photo, like a photo and stuff like that. Like it's that weird like being seen while also blending in. And here she just feels like her emotions, like you guys can witness, is like, this is like I'm a potato.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I like it. So yeah, then the other three of you can now come up with a distinction for Adora based on that flashback. So feel free to chat amongst yourselves. Again, you know, this is like with the distinction we set up at the beginning. This is, think of this in sort of terms of like a fate aspect. Something it's that sort of something that can both be kind of a positive and a negative thing depending on situations. Ideally,
Hiding in the spotlight is kind of what it sounds like is going on there.
Yeah, almost
That sounds
more confident in other people's skin.
Yes, it's kind of like standing out to blend in is sort of what she's got going on.
Like, so I guess the distinction would be more powerful in costume, less powerful in reality, like that sort of thing. So it's hard to describe because I know so many people like that. Yeah, maybe out of the spotlight or something like that.
yeah, I quite liked hiding in the spotlight. Is that something you're happy with, Diana?
Yeah, I like that, hiding in the spotlight.
Cool. But yeah, so as I think, if you're happy to, we can, if you want, we can sort of move on to a bit of the initial reconnaissance side of things, and then maybe build up to a full-on plan towards the end of the session potentially, or we'll see how we get on time-wise. But yeah, that's yeah, if that sounds like a plan to people.
it does.
Cool. So we've so I'll give you a quick rundown on sort of like locations that might be of interest. In particular, there's obviously the sawmill itself, the lumber mill itself. It's a big obviously has very very old bones there. The actual majority of the buildings these days are probably relatively recent, probably say recent as of like 70s, 80s sort of thing. But the site is clearly much older. It's down by the river. There's probably still a big like almost like a little dock by the river where they would have used to bring in the logs by water. There's obviously the bank that you know of. You know, it's got one of those very generic like First County Savings and Loan type of names. There is obviously there are some sort of like there probably is like a small town museum bits and pieces like that. As I said, the sort of tourism is probably one of the industries that is still essentially keeping the town afloat. That's so those are some potential places you want to look at. There's obviously like there's the old McClellan house as well. It's a little bit out of town, and where John lives these days. I think if there's anything else, any other, also obviously if there are any other locations you think are likely to be here and you think would be of use to your plans, let me know, and we can probably fit those in as well.
Who's the local law enforcement person, and who's the sheriff or senior person we should worry about?
Yes, certainly. It's probably again like county sheriff who has jurisdiction over here. We'll call it Irving County, this is like the county town essentially. It's so the sheriffs are based here. The local sheriff is Sheriff Lisa Wright. She is probably she's probably in her 50s, has had the job for a while. And this is, I think it's probably is one of these places where they do have an elected sheriff, but she was elected from law enforcement. She wasn't, she's not sort of a purely political figure.
So while some of you are going to do practical terrain, some of you electronic terrain, I'm going to lean into figuring out the human terrain side of things. I want to figure out how corrupt or not corrupt or involved or not involved the sheriff is. And then also I want to see if we can start mapping out McClellan's chain of connection. Who are his flunkies? Who are his go-to people? And see if we can build that chain up. So that's my thoughts, but I think we probably need a better sense of the physical and electronic terrain before I can move on that.
Yep. And I also think we should probably leverage all of his other potential businesses. He's trying to get into this one, but where is he actually getting his power base now? Like what does he own? Does he own diners? Does he own gas stations? Where is he getting his money from? Because that's probably where we're going to want to take it from.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think Adora will be focused on like how much internet connection is, what's the technology, power grids, stuff like that to be able to utilize. But also like where the main hub of like the regular people like go besides bars, if there's anything besides bars.
There is, I guarantee that there is probably at least one, maybe two great breakfast places in that town that everybody goes to. And
that open at like 5 a.m. Yeah.
And people will stay there and they'll charge you like $9 for real maple syrup, but it is worth it. And that is New Hampshire.
Yeah, they will serve you. You will get French toast made out of bread that they baked at like 4 a.m. so that they could open at 5:30 and like literally like are taking loaves of bread off of the racks where they're cooling and cutting them up to make you French toast.
And the sausage that you eat, they'll point to the farmer who raised the pig that went into the
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think Adora might like just sequester herself in like one of the booths and like just have like a thing of coffee and yeah, like almost like a bottomless French toast.
I think Sasha would probably do be next to you for that sort of thing, and he's probably just being gregarious, talking to people, introducing himself, and occasionally he looks over at you and he goes, "See, I can social engineer too."
How old is Sasha?
Sasha is in his mid-30s.
Okay. 'Cause, yeah, I think Adora's like in her mid-20s. Maybe trying to play off like that, like you're my uncle, maybe. Like trying to like see this is how this side of the family is kind of thing to like
Yeah.
help.
I could just I can laugh and just say we're one of we're one of the new modern families, and we found out that we have relatives somewhere in New Hampshire, so we're just driving around looking up old grave sites and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's why like Adora's like more like concentrate on her laptop. Is like trying to find the next like great like, oh yeah, I think we have family here or whatever.
Yeah, I tell everybody she's just on Ancestry.com.
Exactly.
What we saw something on PBS and now we're here.
She might also be chugging the syrup.
That's expensive. They charge you a lot for that syrup.
I mean, they charge us like $3-4 here when we want real syrup here in San Francisco. So, yeah, I'm not surprised it'd be like $8.
Yeah. Now you can get it, and buy like huge vats of it. But yeah, they sell it for tourists in the actual stores like that. But yeah, we're probably going to go through that, and at which point, I start asking about the people in the town, who the power players are in the town. I'm sure our target immediately comes up.
Indeed. The waitress serving you will sort of there's that you definitely get that like moment of like the McClellans McClellan's an old family. They founded this town. They've done a lot of good for it over the years. The current Mr. McClellan's father was a great man. He was a great man. He did a lot of good for this town.
What did he do?
Oh, he helped modernize the school here. He helped expand the school. He did a lot to help people out, and he always I mean, so many of people here in town work for the family in one way or another, and he was always a great boss.
Okay, where do they work? What kind of jobs you guys people do here?
I mean, used to be a lot of folk worked in the lumber mill or out in the woods themselves, felling trees. But that's kind of tailed off a bit these days. Automation, and they just run less these days. It used to be the saws at the mill would run 24 hours a day, but there's just not the shifts these days.
So he's still the McClellans are still in the lumber business.
Oh yes, Mr. McClellan still runs the business. As I say, it's just not what it used to be here.
Okay. What else does he do, or is he just all in on lumber?
I mean, old money. They have they own quite a few of the buildings in town, rent them out to people. That sort of thing. I've heard he's gone into this new business recently as well. This whatever they call it, growing new trees. All that carbon stuff. I don't understand it myself, but they've planted up a lot of new growth woods.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, there's work doing it, but just not as much, not paying as well as all the lumber work used to.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, they sound like they're important folks. So I don't know. Yeah, put McClellans down on the list to see if we're related to them.
It feels like we're related to everybody around here.
I know. I go, but everybody here is just so welcoming. I like
Well,
New Hampshire.
of course you would, Unc.
Well, nothing wrong with being around people that are like you.
Um, and Adora just like rolls like acting because they do kind of look a little bit younger, acting a little bit more childish or teenagers, and just like rolling their eyes.
Well, I'm sure your mother wouldn't necessarily agree, but this is where your blood comes from too.
I'd like to try and see if there's any possible like hidden like Wi-Fi, like anything that um yeah, like if there's any like of the companies or of like the people where they have like their own secret Wi-Fi towers or anything that's like not like for private networks and such. So I feel like at one of the, like at if these are one of the like the major hubs to like listen in to find out, kind of thing.
So you want to find out if like somebody else is broadcasting from their laptop, or
If there's like special like attached Wi-Fi towers, but they've disguised it like as a cell phone tower or something, or even if there's because I feel like for them to be doing what they're doing, they might need a little bit more extra oomph.
Yeah, sure thing. Yeah, tell you, I'll make a roll. I'll set up a roll and for you to oppose. So I'm going to give them a D8 because this is a remote area and the signals and stuff around here aren't great in general. And another D6 on there. So I will roll that. That is a complication. Sorry, not a complication. That is an opportunity if you have anything that can cash in on that with a total of 9. But yeah, if you would like to assemble your dice pool and see if you can beat that.
I think it would be hacker and either intelligence or I mean they're both the same, but intelligence or alertness for this.
Yep, sure thing.
Okay, and I don't think none of my specialties or distinctions will work. So hopefully I can roll higher than a 9.
Yep, perfect. And I think what you will get is that as I just mentioned, in general, there's the Wi-Fi around here isn't great. In general, same with the cell service. It's patchy. You can kind of you can get by on what's here, and that's fine. But you do what you do pick up on as you're kind of like running some sort of scans. There seems to be you reckon like the actual Wi-Fi signal that you're getting in like I said in this area isn't great. It's fine, but when you actually do some sort of diagnostics on the actual cabling and stuff itself is very good. Like it's very new, quite powerful. This it looks like the sort of the actual underlying so the underlying cable here is actually pretty decent, more so than you would expect for a town of this size.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd relay that on the comms is like
You relay that right after I say, why are you wasting your time looking for something that's clearly not there?
Yeah. I was like, because, and I think like she quotes something like geeky, which I can't think of right now, like about like being paranoid and such. And it's like, this looks like someone who's ready to gentrify the area because the Wi-Fi is not being bounced off of this cabling.
Well, sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes they are out to get you.
I just shake my head and go like, Lenny, I hope you're not just playing at being local.
Is that just so? Are we? Is that over like the headset?
Yeah,
or?
the comms unit. And it's probably a little crackly because even like with her, like the Wi-Fi here and like even with everything that like they set up, it's not as clear as like any other places would be.
And I just tap the earpiece and I say, I'm going to be offline for a little bit. And I tap it and I take it out of my ear and I leave it on the dashboard of my truck. And I am, so David, stop me if this is too, like if I'm, kind of overdoing things here or whatever, kind of, gilding a little too much. But I am, I got to go to their house, right?
Sure, yeah.
And like I kind of get out of the truck and like I kind of, like I like flip the rear view mirror and I kind of like make sure my hair is okay. And I kind of, like make sure, kind of brush a like whatever, a little crumb from whatever it was that we had for lunch off. I do one of those and I get out of the truck and I shut the door and I go walking up to the door and I stop. I take another breath and I ring the doorbell.
Yeah, there's a few minutes, well, not a few minutes, but a few moments pause, and the door is opened by a woman you recognize. Her name is Claire Edgars. She was Dick's wife.
Yeah,
she's kind of in the apron. She's got flour up her arms as she opens the door.
And she opens the door and like I can't talk for like a good 10 full seconds. Like I'm just kind of looking at her, and I say, and finally like I stutter out, Claire, you didn't. I'm so sorry. Shit, what's the kid's name again?
Clive.
Clive, okay. Just give me a second. I'm just gonna put that.
Yeah,
I gotta put these names down, or I'm not gonna remember.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Clive and Claire. And what's her last name again?
Edgars.
Edgars. Okay. And like, like if we're watching the show, like whatever, if we're like 4 or 5 episodes in or something like that, I don't think we've seen Lenny like flustered like this before. And he says, I'm sorry I should have called instead. Well, Clive called me because he said that I might be able to help.
I didn't want him to bother you, but come in. I'll let me get you something to eat. It's been a while.
It has. I'm I'm really sorry. Are you all right? Are you holding up okay?
I'm doing okay. No better than okay, but I'm doing okay. After I wasn't expecting to see you again. Not that I'm not. It's not good to see you, but after you moved on from Larry's office, I didn't expect we'd cross paths again, but it's good to see you.
And I'm looking at the floor as I'm talking, and I didn't know that. I didn't think I would, I didn't think I'd be back here either. But when Clive called, I couldn't say no because he didn't. I mean, he didn't mention you. He didn't say anything about. But I can't. I mean, if you're going to lose the farm, I can't let that happen.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. We've got one of the old barns. We've had it done up. We've been renting out space there for backpackers and such, and we've been getting by. But yeah, it's not been easy.
Well, I'm probably not going to be in town for very long. I don't want to bother you. I just wanted to come by and make sure that is Clive here?
He's he's out with the trees, but he'll be back soon, I'm sure.
Well, why don't I just grab a couple buckets? I'll go find him. I can help him. I can help him finish up.
Sure thing.
And I kind of nod to her, and I sort of point, like, is it okay to walk through the house to the back? Like I've been here before and I know my way around.
Yeah, and she'll kind of wave you through. Yeah.
Okay. And I kind of nod, and I walk out the back, and I look, and there's a couple of like steel buckets, and I grab those, and I just start I start walking along the along the path between the rows of trees and stuff like this and everything. And I think I am like whistling to myself quietly one of those country songs from the from the truck ride on the way up about like going to call on a widow or something like that, but but it's I'm sure somehow it ends tragically.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think I'd like to jump back over briefly to Eun Jung. What do we see? What do we see Eun Jung up to, Lowell?
I think it's the going around to all of the different actual sort of official places and things like that, and getting a map of who is McClellan's, who is his henchmen, what's the status with the sheriff. Those are the sort of key questions. So I think I'm going around and just sort of trying to pick up on that.
Certainly. Yes. So I'm going to bring in one of McClellan's traits in on this because I think it's appropriate.
Sure.
And we'll also bring in the DF for being a close-knit community. your target number is 10. And what's the what do you think you're rolling with here?
Go on.
Oh no, I was going to say I think that Mastermind is definitely going to play in, because this is about you kind of mapping out those like social links between people. What attribute do you think you're feeling for this?
I think alertness, if that seems fair.
Yeah, no, that absolutely that seems more than fair.
May I have the roller link?
Oh yes, sorry. I will copy that in.
Sure, thank you. All right, so that's going to be 2d10. I don't think my distinctions play into this. Let me see if there's anything else I have. The other stuff won't play in, and I'll hold on to my stuff, so I'll roll a 2d10. That is a 12.
12, perfect. So yeah, you succeed. So what you will pick up is as you sort of go around and doing the sort of touristy thing, you will in particular you will I'll read the as I said, the sheriff. Yeah, you are fairly certain that she is at the very least sympathetic to John McClellan. Whether she's like outright bought and paid for, you don't quite get that impression, but you definitely think that so what you'll pick up from her, she is local. She is grew up in the town, seems to take her job seriously. Definitely doesn't seem like a lazy person, but also seems fairly by the book in the very sort of hidebound sense. Cares about dealing with crime, not anything else. Not activities that are legal but maybe should be criminal. Doesn't matter. It's essentially very much at the people causing trouble end of policing is the bit that she is focused on. The sort of law and order policing, we'll call it.
Okay.
In terms of other sort of things in you think if you sort of head into the bank itself, you will get the it's a kind of local town bank, but it's definitely got that feeling of there's maybe like one bank teller working there when you're in there. It's not sort of well staffed by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, like I said, run down wouldn't be the word. It's not like there's nothing out of place. But
Small
it's just
town.
It's just it's quiet. There doesn't seem to be. There's when you go in, there's probably no one else in there. The whole thing just has that slightly just as I said, quiet air to it. You will obviously, like I said, you will pick onions up news already, but the McClellans clearly have a hand in the bank. If not, they're not. If
board of directors,
exactly,
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. there will be kind of an older, like a couple of years old, sort of photo of like the board or something up on one of the walls, and John McClellan is one of the people sat there. The other thing that you will pick up on as you are sort of exploring the town and checking with the people, you will get a very similar impression that I was certainly implying with the waitress, which is that there definitely seems to be, with all else being equal, there's definitely still an amount of respect for the McClellan name in the town, but not necessarily for John McClellan himself.
Okay.
That's definitely the impression you get. The other thing that you will pick up on is that there definitely there seems to be a kind of group, I guess, of cadre within the actual lumber mill operators who seem to be a lot more loyal to him. You kind of so it's one of these, basically the lumber mill is one of these places where they have a kind of classic what's the term for it, is it a yellow union, where they essentially have the union that is just essentially an extension of the company owners rather than an independent.
Right. So there's a group of people from the mill who, when they send the truck after us, they'll be loaded in the back, kind of.
Exactly.
Okay. Right.
Yep.
That gives me a good sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I want to hit up Sasha. And I'll say, so Sasha.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is we can't really move out at this guy until we know what his scam is, what his scheme is more fully.
Yeah, I figured I'd break into his office tonight
Yeah.
and look for his stuff and leave a bug there.
Yeah. That, and then we're going to need to walk the woods to see if we can find any physical evidence on the ground of these places that he has taken. But, yeah.
Plus, the one thing I do know is these locals, they seem pretty sure that, since as long as they don't talk on the phone, everything's okay. So we got to figure out that, I know his office, but any other places where he might do business, places where he's known to go, we should probably bug them as much as possible and see if we can get him to talk.
All right. Well, you do what you do best.
I will also break in and leave some things.
Is there like a town slogan logo, or even if it's high school or sports team that logo that seems to be very popular?
Yes, there almost certainly is. I may need a moment to come up with one, but yes, there will be something on the town sign.
Mainly is that Adora is going to make the bugs they're very thin bugs, and they're going to be slapped on that particular logo sticker, so you could just slap it around without anybody really noticing.
Yeah, it will be. You said probably back when they last did a big refurb of the lumber mill itself, so it's not very, like I said, 70s, 80s. It will probably be growing for the future.
Yeah, for sure. So Adora's made stuff like that to easily bug, and no one's gonna notice an extra sticker around and such.
Yeah, awesome. I like it. Cool. I think we'll just take another quick break there, another sort of 5 minutes. So we'll come back. We'll do some last minute bits, and I think what we'll probably be doing is essentially setting up for doing the job proper next time. But I've quite enjoyed the more relaxed paces. But yeah, as I said, we'll take about a 5-minute break. I'll just pause recording. Yeah. So welcome back, and I think will skip on to Sasha, if you would like to, I'd like to see break into this office.
So would I.
Yeah, excellent. I'm going to ask which do you think you're going to try for, like, the, because obviously he has sort of like his like business office, as it were, at the sawmill itself. He presumably also has some sort of place in his home. Which is one you think you're going to go for in the first instance?
I'm going to find out where he is, and I'm going to go to the one where he is not.
Sure thing. So if we pick things up sort of more or less where we were last time, where we were then, I think he's probably from what Eun Jung picked up. He works out of the sawmill during the day. He may go around and have meetings and stuff elsewhere, but he does still kind of maintain that as his like working office, as it were. So if you're doing this during the day, then his sort of home office is probably the better bet.
And that's the first one I'm going to do. I would picture, if this was a show, this would be a montage of me popping in and poking around a number of different places over the course of, assuming I don't botch and get completely caught in the first one. That would be the plan, would be to spread them around as much as possible to gather information.
Yeah, sure thing. So I think we kind of get a shot of you like approaching this, and as I said, it's a fairly old house. It's probably like kind of again 1800s, sort of. No, I mean, we're not talking like a sprawling mansion, but definitely, a house that
a very classically well-maintained house that people in New Hampshire would be very proud of.
Exactly. The sort of place that would have, back in its heyday, had a staff to run it, sort of thing.
Still a 7-figure house.
Exactly. Yeah. No dollar sign shaped swimming pools, but a big old pile, as it were. What do you think your kind of general approach is going to be? As this is sort of like swarming in through a window, or
I think that my first approach would be, I'm assuming that an office, a New Englander that has a home office like that, probably has a home office with a window.
Yep.
So I would try to figure out if there is any electricity running towards that opening, to see if there's an alarm system. If so, try to bypass it and just simply go through the window. If that is going to be an issue, then if it's very small, slim windows from a different time period, then I would probably have to get a little creative. But my first bet would be just assume that he's going to leave his window open, because people in New England do.
That, as I say, that is probably a fair assumption. If you would like to, I will set up the role. This I don't think is a particular it's not a, he doesn't have like a high-tech security system on the place. So I will just roll with 2d6, and that's an 8 in total. You will get like there's like a break glass sensor on the window, but not like there's no like laser laser grids or anything like that. This is his office. It's not a bank vault. But if you'd like to make your roll.
All right, I'm going to, I assume, use my thief and agility.
Yeah, so that's fair.
So 10. Ooh, I tied.
Okay, so I think this. To sort of clarify this on with the way this works, so the person who establishes this role, that when the other person actually needs to beat this, so that a tie is essentially a fail on this.
Mhm.
So I think that you get the window, you get the window open fine. No problem. It's like an old sash window. It does have a modern lock on it, but the lock isn't locked because it's a lock on a window on a second story window. It's not that paranoid, but so you're able to kind of like jimmy the window open and slip inside. When you sort of get into his office, there is like a filing cabinet here, and that's looks like fairly durable, and it's locked when you try it. And there is a desktop computer here as well. There is also like obviously like a sort of a docking station for a laptop, but the laptop isn't here. But as you enter, and you're just kind of having your initial look around, you hear the creak of a floorboard outside the room, and you hear someone approaching the room, and they're actually like coming towards the door. You can kind of hear from the direction of the footsteps and stuff. So what do you do?
Because this is one of an old New England office, it's got those large wooden beams that are on the ceiling. So as I hear them coming through, I do a standing leap, and then I splay my arms and legs out, and I pin myself like a spider between two of those beams, with the idea that nobody's going to look up when they come in.
Perfect. So what I'm going to ask you to do is if you would like to put together your dice pool for that maneuver and roll that, and then I will see if they notice you when they come in.
I'm going to go with my 2d10s, and then I'm going to use my distinction of determined, because this is one of those things where now is when when things go wrong is when I get better.
Yeah, I was going to say you could have just gone out that window and it wouldn't have been a problem.
Yep. So I'm going to roll with that pool, and that is a 22, so that's a 19.
19, awesome. I will roll for them. Yeah, I think that is probably. We'll call it that. Yeah, they do not succeed in. Oops, I didn't change the thing. So yeah, a sort of not like super young, but maybe a little bit older than Adora, but sort of late 20s. A young woman comes in, and she's got like cleaning supplies with her. She starts to sort of dust sort of down the desk, and starts to clean up the place, and then she just kind of quickly glances over her shoulder and closes the door behind her, and she sits down in front of the computer, and turns it on. When it turns on, she sort of sticks a USB drive into it, and you can kind of see like the where when it comes up with the password prompt, it does the sort of like standard hacker, lots of like swirling symbols and stuff in it before it kind of beeps and opens up. And I think with that we will cut over to. I think I'd like to cut back to Lenny in the with where you were at the farm.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go out into the back and find Clive.
Yeah, and he is drilling the spike thing into the side of a tree and tapping the tree for the sap and so on. And he'll look up and say, "Oh, hey, Lenny, how's it going?"
Clive, I missed this place, I gotta tell you.
Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere else like it, right?
Yeah, it's and this is the best time of year to be here. So, but well, I mean, finish up. But I'm here, and my friends are here, and I think you might be right that there might be something shady going on.
Well, if there's anything I can do to help, just let me know, and I'll do what I can.
I mean, right now, just I guess tell me if you hear anybody, acting unusual or asking about my friends.
Sure. I'll keep an ear out.
And if anybody messes with you because they're poking around, you tell me right away.
Yeah, sure thing. So, do you think you'll be able to, I don't know, stop whatever's going on?
Well, I mean, my friends are pretty good at what they do. And if there's something shady going on, they'll get to the bottom of it. And, they've got a way of being able to get the best of people like that.
Cool. I'm glad to hear it.
I mean, and sorry I can't, be more specific. But until I know what they know, it's,
Yeah, no, I understand. It's yeah, no, that's fine.
So, and so, whatever. I'm helping him,
Yeah.
clearly, like I know, like I have some idea how this all works, right?
Yeah.
And so, whatever. As we're walking back, and I've got a couple of buckets or something like that. So how did it happen?
Oh, it was his heart. He'd been having problems for a couple of years, and my granddad went the same way.
Yeah, I saw him actually break his arm once, and he went back to the house and took a Tylenol. I had to actually wrestle him to get him to the hospital.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm sorry. How's your mom holding up?
she's been busy, and I think that helps keep her mind off it. We've been taking in some lodges and stuff, and all that sort of thing. Doing tours of the place just to get a bit of extra cash in.
Any reason you didn't tell her I was coming?
I mean, like, no offense to you, Lenny, but I wasn't sure you were, and I didn't want to.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I'm here.
Yeah.
And whatever you need, you call me, right?
Yeah, will do.
Okay. I'm gonna head back to the bed and breakfast. Say thanks to your mom, but I'm gonna we'll come back later for pie.
Sure thing. And thanks. He'll kind of raise the buckets. We've not been able to take on as many people to help with the collection. So any help's good.
And I kind of shrug and I say, well, that's what I'm here for. And as soon as I know something, you'll know it too.
Cool. Unless either of you have any specific job-related plans, I would quite like to see Eun Jung and Adora meet up and see how they are coping, or obviously as well, if there's any practical steps you wish to take, that's also cool.
Yeah, for my end, I'm waiting on any additional info that Adora or Sasha can bring to the table. So I think it is a question of us meeting somewhere to eat. And I say, is breakfast all they eat here?
That's all I care about. Have you tried the syrup?
That's a lot of sugar. Yes, and
But
I've
it's
had
natural sugar. It's technically better than what we usually get.
Is it? Is it?
Besides, how much sugar does a tree really have, you know?
This is not
Squirrels
something I've
don't get
looked.
diabetes.
Well, now that is just wrong.
That should be the New Hampshire motto.
Yeah. So if they have this T8 or whatever thick line in here, is it just gentrification, or does it seem like there's any other kind of setup? Are you getting any other kind of traffic or picking up on anything else?
Would I have grabbed anything? Like, because yeah, she would have monitored that for sure and tapped in.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that you will get is it does seem to actually be fairly, like, not completely out the bounds of responsibility, but there does actually seem to be heavier usage on here than you would expect from a town of this size. From kind of a very you're sort of the basic sort of monitoring of the traffic through the cable. You've been able to get like a sensor type thing down there. My knowledge of telecommunications is not amazing, but you what you do get is that there seems to be, like, not high volume. This isn't like people like moving huge volumes of data back and forth, but there is a very, very constant stream of data going through here. Your initial thought on this would actually be like financial data or something of that nature. Sort of like low density but high frequency traffic, essentially.
Is there any way that you can get a location on that? Like even a like geographic area?
I've been trying, but it's been rough. All these trees apparently don't help. They're conducive when it comes to like thunder and lightning, but they're not really conducive to Wi-Fi, and even with this cable line. And but yeah, I would have been like I would try for finding like a central hub of where like these numbers are coming in, and it's like um I would I would have hypothesized it'd be probably like whatever would be considered for this small town, like what's the word I'm looking for, like officey, like very like like kind of thing, like where it would make sense that there would be a lot of like, if anyone was to look into it, it's like, oh yeah, of course they need like that, like it's like the only like local like financier or something like.
Yeah, sure thing. There's not really anything that would stick out to you as being like that. There's not really any big office buildings in the place. So the closest thing is the bank itself, but that certainly from what Eun Jung saw as well, that does not look like a high tech hub there. It's fairly what's the word? Low tech enterprise.
Could this traffic be coming from some area in the woods?
Yeah, actually, I'll have you make a roll, Adora, to see if you've sort of picked up on the general gist of where this is. I'll set up the roll for you. This will be, I think, in fact, yeah, we'll call it that. Ooh, that's a total of 7 with an opportunity in there. If you have anything to trigger off of it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna go with the 2d10s like before. Ooh, barely. As for opportunity, like maybe as I'm searching, I catch wind of like an email chain.
Yeah.
That's directly related to our problem.
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, what you will actually get is there is so you actually bring up like the because obviously this was with the what do you call it, the cabling has obviously been like registered at like a local with the sort of necessary departments and so on and so forth. And that's when you actually look that up. That's when things start to seem a little odd, because this cable is obviously it's serving the town, goes through the town. That is perfectly as would be expected. But it goes out to the sawmill, which is odd because sawmills aren't particularly known for their data consumption as these things go. That is definitely something that sticks out as odd. And you will also definitely get that from that bonus, you'll get that there is a lot of both incoming and outgoing traffic on this thing. There's clearly transactions taking place essentially over this cable.
Yeah, so I basically relay that plainly to Eun Jung, and
well, I guess we eat some more bacon and send Sasha and Lenny out there.
At which point you peer over the comms, tapping, which is basically a symbol of duress. and it's a symbol. Basically, it's he taps out in Morse code, "not alone."
I think like yeah, Adora's this type has an app like automatically for to like for Morse code because that's not something she would know.
Oh, you need it for your ham license. Of course, you know it.
Why would I have a ham license?
Oh, I'll explain it to you one day.
So yeah, it would have been that's not good. Should we
Do you know where he's at? Can you get a location on him?
got a location as long as and looks up like in general. It's like, yeah, I got a location on all of them. As long as they're wearing their buds.
Yeah.
And I go, Lenny, come in. Have you gotten your?
Yeah, Lenny seems to have been standing still for an awful long time now that you think of it, Adora.
and yeah, I'd be like, did he take a nap? Or maybe they're doing that leaf watching thing.
Well, he's not replying on the comms. Well, I guess we have to drive to wherever this is and create a distraction.
Yeah, I'll leave. Like, and I start typing furiously. I'll leave a silent, just in case it, like, with Lenny, it's the same thing where, like, they're not alone, so it'd be bad to do something obvious, and, like, leave a silent, like, text message for the both of them, like, where we're heading.
Oh, good point. Can we stop here?
Yeah, that was going to be my suggestion.
I actually need to jet here at this point. I'm sorry.
No, that's not a problem. No, that seems like a good cliffhanger point to leave it at anyway. So
we rush out and then realize, like, wait a minute, we can't get that Uber. That Uber's like, neither of I don't know.
I've got a rental car. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. It doesn't blend in, and we're not built for this, but I'm sure we'll be fine.
And that's how it ends.
Yes. Yeah. I have to duck. Thank you so much.
No worries. No, thank you. Thank you. It was good fun.
Bye.
Cheers. Oh, I'll just.